I want to take just a moment to show you in Visio 2013 how to work with entity, the connectors or the relationships, and how to alter any part of the relationship, add associates. Okay, so first off, whenever I bring up a Visio drawing, if I don't have the correct pieces or shapes over on the left, then I'm going to make sure that I select more shapes, and it's going to be the database. And at this point, I'm going to select the crow's foot notation. Okay, that will bring up my entity, my primary key, attribute separator, an attribute itself, and relationship. So let's say I'm ready to add a table or an entity. So I click and drag it out. It's going to give me the name and then all the attributes I can work with. Okay, now notice that as I select an attribute, if I double click on any part of it, it's going to allow me to enter the information. Same way with the entity name. So let's just say that this would be student. Then on the attribute name, maybe student. And on this one, I'm going to put an ID. And again, I can continue to add these and change the names on them. I can also change shape, size. Think of it as a word processor after I look at each one. Okay, now I'm going to, in order to do a relationship, I'm going to need another entity out here. And I'm going to make this one a class, which also means I need a class ID. And if I had a primary key, I would need to have student ID over here also. But we have our two tables out here. Now, next thing I want to do is do a relationship. Now, I can use the connector between objects. I can tell it the relationship that I want to start here and go over to here. If it's not properly put in, I can always go and change it. You can change it from the size, you can change it the movement. There's a lot of things you can change about these. Okay, notice that I am moving it around just so you'll know that you can move them around. And this one I can move it down a little bit. Notice that on the relationship. Now, if I want to change anything about that relationship, I can select it. Notice I have these up here also, but then I can right click on it and it lets me work with the beginning or ending symbol, and I can choose it by word. I can also do what is called set identifying. Now, set identifying is the difference between a weak or a strong relationship. So notice it changes from a dotted to another line. And there's other things I can do. I can edit the text and put a label in the middle. I can work with the data. And I can also format the shape. Now, if I format the shape, it's going to bring up a window over here and allow me to work with the color, width. I can also get to the arrow sizes here, and instead of saying the words, I can select it by telling it just what I'm wanting to work with. Okay, so my beginning, I can tell it which one it is and what that is, what medium, small, jumbo. Jumbo, I can make them pretty big. And then also on the ending, I can tell it which one I want. Okay, so I can go down here and select any of these. Right now it's selecting on my one. I can also change it to a large or jumbo, and you can see how these work. I can fill or no fill as long as I have them selected. Notice that it has to be selected. I mean, some of these really don't make much sense to change, but you can. Okay, and I can get rid of this if I want. I can also double click and it will give me the little text box. And I can put my verb on here. If it's not big enough, then just go in and make it a little bit bigger. So when you're working in Visio, just make sure that you arrange your entities as best you can so your relationships will work on the start to finish. From there, you can get to probably about 85% of what you want by right-clicking, or at least right-clicking and then changing something you need to work with. Say, I don't really need this shape data, but there's a lot I can get to on these. I can also do the same thing on any of the entities, and it's going to allow me to work with some placements of it. I can format the shape, and again, it's going to bring out that information, but it's only going to affect what I have selected. So it's solid. It gives me a width, but I can make it a little bit bigger also. And you're going to see it made it a little bit thicker, gray around it. So Visio 2013 does not give you the database properties all in one. Like before 2013, it makes you change more of the individual pieces by selecting them. But hopefully this helps you a little bit on the crow's foot. You can also do the chin model from here. Good luck. I will do the same thing with access, and there'll be more since it is a little bit more in depth than Visio.